that. Uh, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and add them to the chat and we'll respond to them appropriately. And to start us off, I would like to introduce us to our chair and vice chair of EICC who will be presenting on this topic. So I will hand this off to you, Yvette.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yvette, pronoun she, her, hers. I am a fourth year English major hoping to become a future English teacher. So thank you all for joining. So as you can see on our slide, we are going to talk about how to apply for funding through EICC. So before we get into the nitty gritty checklist and all of that stuff, just a little overview. So as I said, I'm the chair and Ashley is going to be our vice chair. For funding, Ashley is in charge of all of the paperwork, all of that. She's your number one point of contact with any questions for funding. So just a quick overview. So the EICC, what we basically do is we help serve current, prospective, and prereq students of the College of Education. So with the chair and vice chair, there are 3 directors, 2 ASI board representatives, the assistant dean of student affairs, who is Diana, who will be speaking in our next event next week on Thursday, and other representatives from our organizations that are underneath the EICC. So what EICC does is we help all of the students in the College of Education with funding. So the purpose, we try to provide opportunities for interactions with ASI, students, faculty, and administration in the College of Education. As I said, we are a funding body for clubs and organizations. What that means is EICC and other ICCs on campus with colleges receive funding from ASI and we disperse them to students in our specific colleges. So our goals for the Education Interclub Council is to always encourage events and programs within the College of Education organizations. So although it is hard during this time of virtual online learning, some of our clubs do have some virtual events planned with guest speakers, and EICC does as well. We hope to build relationships and interaction between students in the College of Education and to create more visibility for the Education Interclub Council because not a lot of students know who we are and what we do to help serve students. So as I said, EICC, there are organizations under the Education Interclub Council, which are Club Teach, HELO, NAFB, and SCTA. They all have their own links to Titan pages, to Titan link pages. So if you just search up CSUF Titan link, you just log in with your student information, and then you can search up these clubs and see if any of the clubs interest you. So I'm going to hand it over to Ashley, who is our vice chair.
Hi, everyone. As mentioned before, my name is Ashley Kataoka, and I am the Vice Chair of the EICC and a student in the Multiple Subject Credential Program here at Cal State Fullerton. As Vice Chair, my responsibilities include organizing the financial requests for travel and conference attendance, and I also meet with the ASI financial advisors weekly to discuss the budget and the financial processes for the EICC. So funding is used by the clubs to fund celebrations and events in addition to any registration or contract fees that might be required for our students. Funding is also available for students in the College of Education that are part of these clubs that want to go to events for their classes or such. In a typical setting, we could fund for student traveling for events like NASPA or other conferences across the nation, including reimbursement for the hotel, airfare, registration, and any travel by Uber or rental car and such. Although unfortunately this semester we will not be able to fund for travel, but we will still be funding for virtual conferences, which is super exciting. This includes conferences that are required for classes, clubs, and etc., or ones that you just kind of want to attend for fun. It is important to note that students that are only attending, in other words, they're not presenting, not volunteering at the conference, will be limited to $500 for the entire school year, which includes the fall semester and the spring semester. However, this limitation can always be increased to $750 by volunteering or presenting at their next conference. For example, if you wanted to attend the Teacher Heart Out conference in November 2021 and it cost your full $500, which it doesn't, but if it did, then you could go to your next reading conference in March that costs $50 and opt to volunteer at the conference or present at it to receive that extra funding to be what we call an active member. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Are there any questions about that? You guys can just put that in the chat. Okay, so for applying for the funding, in the beginning, it seems a little overwhelming. Trust me, I've been doing this for a few semesters now, and there's still some things that are kind of confusing. So the first thing that you'll need is the Senate travel request form. And Yvette, if you can go to the next page, we have an example of that. And so you could here see Alvin filled out, like all of the blue spaces is where you would be filling out. And you would, for this semester, it would only be the registration and the total, which is at the bottom. And then farther on the document, it would say if you're receiving funding from another department other than the College of Education, check yes or no and explain it. And then you'll sign it and date it and send it over to me. And then Yvette, if you can go to the next one. This is our next document, the delegate travel contract. Although you won't be traveling, we'll still ask you to fill this out because it's basically saying that you're going to attend the conference if we're going to fund you and you're going to represent Cal State Fullerton in a respectable manner. And the info is pretty basic on here too. We ask you to fill out your emergency contact person, which is usually for travel, and then you leave the airfare and hotel stuff blank. The next part of the process will be, oh, I forgot to mention, in addition to the documents, the two that were shown, we will also ask for a request for the proof of acceptance to the conference if applicable. I know not everybody gets like accepted to it. And then a screenshot of your receipt or a purchase confirmation and proof that the conference is virtual, just saying that we know that you won't be gathering in any other way. And so moving on, as you can see on the slide, the next part will be the proposal presentation. It won't be long. It'll be a max 5 minutes just to tell us what your conference is about, why you're asking for funding, how much funding you are requesting, and how you think this information presented at the conference will be beneficial to Cal State Fullerton as a whole. And hopefully then the council will approve, and that's it until the end or until after your conference. Okay, very cool. So again, with that presentation, we just request that the documentation is sent 2 weeks before your event so we can get everything organized before your presentation, and then you'd send it to me at vicechair.eicc@gmail.com, and we can put that in the chat after. But after you send that, then I'll go ahead and send you the dates that of our future council meetings. So after the conference, you will go ahead and fill out or type up what we call the post-conference write-up, and that is just a 350-word paragraph or essay about your experience and how the information will be beneficial to the campus. And you will send that to me again, and I will send it over to ASI, where it could take about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on each case, and it will be processed and you will receive your check in the mail. And there you go. It just outlines that. Very cool. And then this is just some of our previous conferences that we funded in previous years. I'll hand it over back to Yvette.
Cool. So hopefully if anyone has any questions, you are able to put in the chat. If not, you can stay after as well. If for some reason a question comes in after the meeting, you can always email Ashley, vice chair at, or her email is going to be in the chat at the end. But just so you all know, EICs, these are the dates for EICC meetings for this spring. These are finalized. Meetings will occur on Thursdays at 5 p.m. through Zoom. They are open to any student who is part of Cal State Fullerton, so you guys can always drop by, see what we are talking about. If you aren't able to attend a meeting, EICC minutes and agendas are available on our Titan Link page. So if you want to see what we fund for or what we have funded for this year, it will be all up there. And then I'll hand it over to Alvin.
Yeah, I did have a question, Ashley. How late can a student submit their proposal up to the um, EICC meeting date?
So we actually prefer that it is sent 2 weeks before your event. And then from there, then we'll figure out when the next council meeting is. Did I answer your question? Sorry.
Yes.
And for the question in the chat, it says, where can we find the forms? I'm attaching the link right now. Let me just copy it and then I'll send it to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley. And a lot of this information can be found on our website, which is csufeicc.weebly.com. And this video will also be hopefully posted on the website as well for more information. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, your Director of Event Planning, Ashley, your Vice Chair, or the Chair, Yvette. We're more than welcome and happy to help you in any kind of funding needs for any future conferences or events that you would like to attend. And if you are a part of an organization, feel free to keep your organizational rep in the loop, as they are also there as a liaison between your organization and EICC for any EICC related questions. And if you like events like this or have other event requests, you can also email me, and I will do my best to try to accommodate and make sure that we are able to support the students in College of Education and provide the resources that they need to succeed. And as part of the Spring Resource Series, I do want to put a plug in that next Thursday, February 4th, from 6 to 7 p.m., after our first EICC meeting, we have the lovely Diana Lopez, our Assistant Dean within the College of Education, to explain more about how to apply for scholarships and quick tips and tricks to make that process a very simple one. And I don't know if Diana, if you want to say a few words about that.
Sure, thank you. I want to thank Alvin for putting this together and organizing our new speaker series and just doing such a great job promoting it, and to Yvette and Ashley who presented today this really helpful information, these resources that are available to our students. That I just say take advantage if you can. You know, this is here for you, and the EICC works really hard to make sure that this is available to all of you. About next week, I'm looking forward to sharing with all of you how to, simplify the application process, not just to apply, but also how to navigate that process, which I know can be a little daunting at times, and there can be a lot of information and requirements, but I'm going to give some helpful tips on how to remove some barriers, so that way it makes it easier for all of you to apply, and to apply to as many scholarships as possible. So I'm looking forward to that time together, and I really want to give time for Q&A because I know there's a lot of questions that come up. So hopefully we can help answer those questions and help you navigate that process.
Thank you, Diana. And for those of you wondering where or which Zoom link it will be the same Zoom link. And just to help you even further, the Zoom meeting ID will be 953-027-1230. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat box. And if you have any further questions, feel free to stick around, and any of us are any of us can answer any of your questions regarding how to apply for funding through EICC. And we just want to thank you all for attending our first event of the spring, and looking forward to seeing you in future events for within EICC. So thank you all.